Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel bookswithnatasa, and today I have my June wrap up. So in the month of June I read 22 books in total, 8 books and 14 manga, and I will talk about each and every one of these books with you guys, so just relax and enjoy the video. So first we're gonna start with the books. As always, I have a few rereads here this time, so let's start with Kingdom of the Fear, which is book number 3 of Kingdom of the Wicked series by Mansi, and I gave it again 4.75 out of 5 stars. I just felt like reading this book again just because the last time I read it was when it first released and I ended up really loving it, but now I felt like really going back and reading about Wrath again, so yeah, I went back into this one just because they are in a relationship here more than they are in the other books, if that makes sense. But yeah, so this book was such an enjoyable reread. It all did its purpose. I had so much fun reading it. It was just the best. I'm not gonna talk about a lot of stuff that happened in this book just because it is the third and final book in the series, so I don't want to spoil you guys. But yeah, this book follows Wrath and Emilia after the events of the second book as they try to piece together what happened in the past and basically save the relationship. Let's hope I didn't spoil anything. Next, I received an arc and I'm forever grateful for this. This is a Keeper Saved by Cupid Tyler. As many of you know, Cupid Tyler is one of my top favorite authors. Her taboo stories are just incredible. Definitely favorite series stories. And when she reached out and gave me this arc, I was like ecstatic just because it's just such a wild opportunity for me to be able to read a book that one of my favorite authors is set to release soon, and I'm just so grateful. But yeah, this is a bodyguard romance, and I was hesitant about reading it just because bodyguard romances are really my thing, but I of course had to give it a chance just because it should be tired and I love everything she writes. And I wasn't wrong. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. I really like Damien and the girl, basically, I don't remember her name, but I love the suspense in the story with the stalker and everything. I have a review up on my blog if you want to check it out. I have the link down below. I also had so much fun reading this book. I can't wait for more stories by her, but still I prefer her age gap taboo stories like stepbrother or stepfather and everything in between. I prefer those stories by her. My favorite of hers so far has to be What Was Meant to Be. That is my top one. Then Unconditional. Those two are my top. I love them so much. I still need to read Forget Me Not, but I am not prioritizing just because it has amnesia trope, which is not for me, but maybe I will pick it up someday. But for this one, I was pleasantly happy, and I'm so happy to have read it before the release, and I can't wait for more books by Ruby Tyler. Next we have another reread, and that is Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles. This is book number 2 in the Lost and Found series, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars again. This is her newest series, and I have to say I'm not disappointed. I read the first book when it first came out, and I loved it, but as soon as I went back and thought it over, it was more like a 4 star than a 5, but this one is a clear 5 star. I have reread it so many times. I love Maddie and Nasi's story. I love the fact that they were childhood friends, and now they are in a romantic relationship. Also, I love the domestic violence aspect of this story and how Catherine Cowles portrayed everything was done. It was so well done. Also, the whole suspense in the story with her abusive ex and everything was really interesting to read, and I was at the edge of my seat. Also, the relationship progressed in the most amazing way. I mean, they both knew that they have feelings for each other for a while now, but they weren't sure how the other one felt, and they didn't want to ruin the friendship because both of them were all the other had, basically, that they were understanding, they were so understanding and everything about them. And Maddie came from a very dark childhood, and so Naz was everything that she had, basically, and she didn't really want to ruin it, but she couldn't really handle it anymore, being all the stuff that they were left unsaid, so she took a leap of faith, and of course, Nas turned out to also have feelings for her, and it was incredible. This book is just amazing. Definitely read it, you guys. It's so worth it. Next, we have another reread, and this is part of a readathon that I'm participating with Selby from Grace with Books. I will put her link down below. But this is The Latin Thief by Rick Rider. This is the first book in the Percy Jackson series, and I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a reread for me, and this is the second time reading this, if I remember correctly. It's been a few years since I last read it, and I was so pleasantly surprised because I remember almost nothing, because I am one of those people that have first seen the movie and then read the books. So the stuff that I remember mostly are from the movies, and this is one of the things that I hate the most. But yeah, I love being back to this world and these young adorable characters. I love seeing our three characters so young and innocent and cute. They are just amazing. I love reading this story again. I love being back with the demigods and everything. It's just amazing. I had so much fun. I'm so happy to be back into this world for this reread, and maybe I will be able to continue with Heroes of Olympus soon. With the Percy Jackson series, we have Sea of Mansi, which is book number 2 in this the Percy Jackson series, and this one I gave it 4 stars, maybe 3.75. Nothing against the book, but this is my least favorite in the series just because we have Tyson in this book. It's not a spoiler if you've seen the movies, but in this book, Percy discovers he has a half brother that is part Cyclops. And basically the whole situation, how he was introduced and how Poseidon is acting and everything, basically made me hate him just because this is so unfair to Percy. And I just don't like Tyson's character. He's like super annoying, and I'm really sorry for those who really love him, but for me, I have tried. I went into these books with an open mind, but still I ended up really hating Tyson. But yeah, and I just found that if he wasn't part of the story, a lot of things that happened wouldn't have happened, if that makes sense. I'm trying not to spoil anything. But yeah, also loving seeing Annabeth and Percy's relationship in the really early days, just before they start being the perfect couple, and it's just amazing. Next, even though it wasn't part of the schedule for this month, I ended up rereading The Titan's Curse, which is book number 3 in the Percy Jackson series. And this one, I remember nothing, so when we started this book, I was so surprised. I was like reading it for the first time. I remember nothing about Atlas and everything about the lore in this book, so everything was such a surprise for me, and I loved every second of it. Also, I love how Percy and Annabeth started really recognize the feelings in this book. I can't wait for the next one. It's The Battle of the Labyrinth is my favorite book in the series, and I hope it still holds true to this day, but because I still remember nothing about it. But I only remember like 1 or 2 scenes from The Last Olympian, so yeah, I'm really excited to pick up this book. I will continue with The Battle of the Labyrinth hopefully in July, just as the schedule says, but I guess we'll see if I decide to pick it up earlier or later. Next, we have a new release, and that is Reckless, which is book number 4 in the Chestnut Spring series by S.C. Silver. This has become one of my all-time favorite series. I love each and every book more than the other, if that is even possible. I gave this book, of course, 5 out of 5 stars. This book follows Tia Silva and Winter Hamilton. Winter, which we met in previous books since she's Summer's sister. And Tigo we meet as well since he's training with Red, which is Summer's husband. So yeah, we see these enemies, lovers, surprise pregnancy trope, forced proximity, if that makes sense, and basically a lot of tropes in this one and all of them were done beautifully. I'm starting to think that each drop LCC decides to rise. It does a wonderful job with it, and I have. It's been a while since I was so immersed in a book, and I think this is part of the reason why my reading slump is gone. I was just so hooked to it, into the story, and I couldn't stop reading it, and it was the best time. Basically, my ranking for this series so far is heartless, then reckless, then powerless, and then flawless. It was a bit of a competition between reckless and heartless, but heartless still wins just because it has my favorite tropes, with the single parent, nanny, and everything. But this one is still in second place, absolutely amazing. Can't wait for Mateo's book. I'm sorry, I'm confusing with the Edens just because I finished reading the Edens last night. Basically, we have, I think, one more book, which is Bugh's book, and it's called Hopeless, and it's gonna come out, I think, by the end of this year. Next, we have a book that I finished reading last night, and that is Crimson Raven, which is book number 4 in the Edens series by David Perry. And this one I gave 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really loved watching Vance and Lila's relationship, how in the suspense in this story was so gripping, but I felt like I have read this story before, romance-wise. I'm not sure where, but I'm pretty sure I read it somewhere recently. I just can't pinpoint it, but still, I ended up really loving it and having the best time reading this book. So we have Lila, and after her sister Eloise stages an intervention, she basically says she's been working too much, so she says go have fun, so she goes on a hike, and then someone attacks her, and then turns out this person is a fugitive, so this cop from Idaho comes to investigate just because he's the one that keeps trying to find him, even though everyone else has given up. So after finding this new lead with Lila, together they start to search the woods and the mountains for him just because they think he's hiding somewhere there. And at the same time, they were fighting their attraction just because they know that he's not gonna be here long. But then after a while, they decide why not give it a try, and then they get stop and they start developing feelings with each other, and it's amazing. Also love the ending. I was a little bit hesitant about the introduction of the girl at the end. I thought for sure that she was gonna turn out to be the killer, but that didn't happen, and I was so disappointed just because I didn't like her as much, maybe because we only got like 10 pages with her, maybe that's why, but still, I had a lot of fun. So that's it for the books that I read this month. Let's jump straight into the manga. The first manga that I want to talk about is One Piece. I read volume 1 until 5, and by the time this video has been posted, maybe I have read a lot more, but for now we're gonna talk about this 5 volumes, which I gave all of them 5 out of 5 stars, of course. Firstly, I want to say that I'm so glad to be back into the pre-time skip world of One Piece, just because I miss the innocence that these characters had, even though they were pretty weak and everything, and they didn't have these fancy new techniques and powers. I still loved watching them interact with one another. How much fun they used to have, and everything was a joke, and it was everything so light. And now, after the time skip, they have suffered so much loss, so much heartbreak, so much basically so much defeat, and they have lost their smiles basically. Not Luffy, of course, but even Luffy is not as happy and carefree as he was before, and Zoro doesn't even smile in the new arcs and everything, and that just makes me so sad, just because he used to have so much fun with Luffy and everyone, and now he's just real serious, and I hate to see that for him. Hopefully he will be a little bit better in the later seasons, but I don't think that is gonna happen until they have fun and spend some time together. But yeah, I'm sidestepping here and I'm talking only for One Piece, I'm sorry. But in this few volumes we are introducing to Baggy the Clown, which took me by surprise too, because I didn't remember that they were having trouble defeating him at first, and I was like, wow. And now all they had to do was like punch him, not a real punch, with hiking or just a regular pants, and he will be like on the ground because he's pretty weak. But here we see him like this super powerful villain pirate and everything, and I just love it. Also getting introduced to Nami and Usopp this one, and I finished at the end of volume 5. We also get introduced to Sanji. So far, I have noticed small differences in the backstories of Usopp and Sanji. Nami's yet hasn't come, but I hope he will. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I'm hoping to finish the East Blue by the end of the next month, and then continue with the other saga. I think the one that is going to be the most difficult to get through will be Dressrosa and Pan Hazard, but hopefully I will sort of skim read those, like the beginning, because it has quite a slow start, and I have already seen the anime, and since it's pretty similar, I don't see the point to trouble myself too much in that particular arc. All the other stuff I plan to read regularly, just that one, it was difficult watching the anime for it. I think it's gonna be super difficult to read the manga, so I am planning to take it to skim read that arc. Next we have a series I picked up completely on a whim, and that is My Happy Marriage. I read volume 1 until 4, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is a new favorite series. I am so excited for the anime to come out, I think next month. And this was just a heartbreaking emotional story. Miyo's background was just so heartbreaking. I cried my eyes out. I love her romance with Kudo-san, and they're just amazing together. They are such a amazing couple. I love how Koto-san is so supportive of her and tries to take care of her and everything, and gives her back smiles and happiness, and she just slowly starts to trust him and then let him in and everything, and it's just amazing, and I can't wait to read more volumes. This is gonna be an amazing anime. So far not much has happened in the relationship, but they are officially engaged now. I think they haven't married yet, but I think it's gonna happen soon, and I'm so excited. Also, was for sure that the nightmares that Amiga was having was her sister's fault, and since that it hasn't been, I'm curious to see about her other side of the family. Maybe these people were the ones that are hurting Mio, but I guess we'll see in the future. The final series on this list is the series Book Cafe in Another World, volumes 1 until 5, basically the entire series, since it is finished, and this I gave 4 out of 5 stars. This has been on my TV for a while now, but since it's an isekai and I haven't read many of those, I kept putting it off, and then again a few days ago I picked it up on a whim. And just because I kept seeing it around, and I just felt like reading it, so this series was such a cozy read. It's amazing for fall time. It's amazing to read, especially for us bookworms who love to sit inside and read in the cozy, for a light fire and everything. And I love that for her, and especially since she found a person to love her and show her interest with, and they are just adorable together, and I love watching them interact. I also plan to read the light volume just because you get a lot more of the romance. I have no idea where to find them, but I will keep looking. So yeah, I am really happy to have read this series. I am planning on reading another isekai soon. Hope I'm going to find another romance one, since this one was such a good one. I don't want to be like a super fighty one, if that makes sense, like to be like someone transported into the world and all he does is fight this war and everything. So yeah, I prefer to be a romance one. And yeah, so far I really did enjoy everything I read this month. So that's it for my video. I had so much fun talking about the books and manga that I read this month. I hope you guys enjoyed. And I would really appreciate if you guys check out my Instagram. I will put the thing here. I post over there every 2 days, and I'm trying to be consistent, but the past few days have been weird, so I'm sorry about that. But I am planning on doing a live soon, so keep an eye out for that. So for now, like, subscribe, stick around, and I will see you for my next video very soon. Bye!
君の虜になってしまう